All right, we're going to skip to the end to make sure that you get the whole hero's journey. I'm not allowed to assign any more work for the rest of the year after this week, so this will be your last required assignment, but I will finish the other adventures. There's only a couple. Remember, he's still telling all of this to the Phaeacians as like a flashback kind of thing. Book 18, he arrives in Ithaca. Athena helps disguise him as a beggar so that he's not recognized. He goes in and he talks to his son. He talks to his wife's trusted maid, because he still has to figure out how to get rid of the suitors. He can't just, blow in and, they would likely just kill him. So they had to come up with some type of scheme. Now, Penelope's not in on it. So that part of it you need to know. So we're going to skip forward. If you want to hear the rest of the adventures, there's only a couple more. I'll make sure to still post those, but they won't be for credit. You don't have to worry about completing them if you don't want to. So I'm in book 22. No, I want book 21. Sorry, I got to go back. So book 21 is the Great Contest. Odysseus strings his bow. And this is another famous thing in our culture. You'll hear it sometimes. It's kind of like that when Alexander cuts the Gordian knot. Odysseus stringing his bow is a task, an impossible task. So Penelope finally realizes that she's going to have to do something. It can't go on forever. So she takes out her husband's, Odysseus's, bow and arrows and his axes. She ranges the axes and tells the suitors, if you can string Odysseus's bow and shoot the arrows through the axes in a straight line, I'll marry you. Wow. The trick is only Odysseus can string the bow. It's so big and strong that only he can string it. Nobody else could string it. So here it talks about how everybody tried to, they made fun of each other. They all tried to string the bow. Telemachus couldn't do it. He did it first, tried to do it first to show them that it was very difficult. And of course, everybody thought that they could do it. You always think that you're the best. There's an interest. They've done a scientific study on that when people who know very little information think they're an expert on it until you learn more and then you realize you don't know anything. We may have talked about that in class too. So it goes through with all these people trying to string the bow. Nobody was able to string the bow at all. So Odysseus, disguised as the beggar, very long. Okay, so at the very end, he says, right here, he was able to string the bow and shoot it, and therefore, regardless of who he was, Penelope was supposed to marry him. Now, Athena came down, of course, and took off his costume and revealed him as Odysseus. You would think that would be the end of it, and it would be great. Well, so Odysseus and his son kill all the suitors. They're a little worried that their homelands are going to send troops to fight them. But he kills all the suitors, and Athena reveals him as Odysseus. Now, Here's the Slaughter in the Hall, book 22. That's when he kills all of the suitors, and we're going to just kind of gloss over that because that would be one of those montages in a movie where they have music in the background. It would just montage everything. We don't need to look at the details of all that. So we get over to book 23, The Great Rooted Bread. This is another one. So Penelope has been doing this for 10 years. The gods have treated her like trash. The suitors have treated her like trash. She doesn't trust anybody. Her nurse, her trusted servant says, this is Odysseus. And she's like, Athena was the one that messed with him before. I have to make sure. So what she does is tells him, she's very worried about her being faithful to Odysseus, and if this is a trick, it would completely ruin her, kind of thing. So what she does, she tells him he has to sleep outside. She tells Odysseus he has to sleep outside, that she's not going to let him sleep in their bed. So she tells her nurse, she tells her, where's it at? Hold on. Right here. She says to her servant, move the sturdy bedstead out of the bridal chamber. Move the bed outside so he can sleep outside. He's not sleeping in my bedchamber with me. But as soon as she says this, Odysseus is taken aback. It depends on the translation that you get. He's horrified, he's mad, he's sad, whatever. He says, woman, your words, they cut me to the core. Who could move my bed? Impossible task unless a god did it. Because what happened was and it says here, I'm on page 386. There's a branching olive tree inside of their court, grown to its fullest prime. Around it, I built my bedroom, finished off the walls with good tight stonework, roofed it over soundly, and added doors, hung well and snugly wedged, and I locked the leafy crown of the olive, clean cutting. So their bed is made out of an olive tree stump that they built the castle around. So there's no way to move the bed. It's rooted into the ground. And as soon as Penelope hears that, she knows it's actually her Odysseus. And it says here, I'm on page 387, she dissolves into tears, rushes to him, flings her arms around him, and is so happy to see him. So there's your happily ever after part. The rest of the books are like the happily ever after part, who does what. A lot of it is the dead people down in the underworld talking about how they died and all of their accomplishments. So if you want to vote, if you're interested in those, it's just their ghosts talking. Oh, this one only has 24 books. Okay, so that's what that'll be. And then of course in the very end, it was everybody lives happily ever after. Zeus was happy. Penelope's happy. Odysseus is happy. Everybody's happy. So the things you'll hear stemming from the story in popular culture, possibly not being able to move the bed out of the bedchamber because it was made out of an olive tree stump, and the stringing of Odysseus's bow. Only Odysseus could string the bow. So, code word to get credit for this video is, let's have it be Olive Stump. Message me the word Olive Stump to get credit for this video. Like I said, this will be the last video for credit. I will do the other videos to tell you the other adventures. Keep working on your hero projects. What I've seen so far, I'm really impressed with. Keep doing that. And as always, message me with questions or concerns.